How is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of Beared Down Uncut, where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. We saw running back 2 Tarik Cohen go down in Atlanta with a torn ACL, but who could replace him in Chicago? Today, in episode number 89 of Uncut, we're going to discuss some possible replacements for the gadget running back in Chicago and also examine whether or not there is even a need for a replacement. I would like to say before I get into this one, you guys have been killing it with the support recently on the YouTube channel. We recently set a goal. Our goal is to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of next year, not this year. That would be a little bit rapid. We would need quite the viewership to be able to do that. But if you are new to the channel and you want Bears videos every day of the week, we've been pumping out 1, even 2 videos each and every day. So do us a favor, click that red button to subscribe. Also click the bell for notifications whenever we post. And I'm going to set a like goal on this video for 50 likes. I know you guys can do it. I am your host, Chris Malpe. And today, to talk about some running back replacements, I am joined with both of my co-hosts, Parth and Jaylen McClinton. Parth, how's that White Sox game going?
It's going to be a good one. Eloy Jimenez just got a double. I think we have 6 hits, and it's literally 2 innings through, so it's looking good so far.
The Cubs are in trouble, man. They got postponed, so I guess we live another day, but they've got you.
There's literally no rain in Chicago.
Yeah, both Chicago teams up against their backs. Normally I don't root for the White Sox, but they're facing elimination. I got to root for them. Jaylen, how's it going, buddy?
It's going good. It's Thursday. Don't have any class for the rest of the week, so just going to do some homework and enjoy this week Thursday night football game.
Jaylen, I would like to say, talk a little bit closer to your mic. It was a little bit tough to hear you there, but let's hop right into this one. We're talking about some running backs today. We've seen David Montgomery this year rush 43 times for 191 yards. He's averaged 4.4 yards per carry. We also saw the Bears upgrade undrafted free agent running back Artavis Pierce to the active roster on Monday, and he rushed for 873 yards at Oregon State in his senior year in 2019. So, Parth, I want to start with you. Cordero Patterson came out this week and also said that he would be willing to take an upgrade in his snaps as well. So the Bears' running back room right now on the active roster looks like Montgomery, Patterson, Null, and Artavis Pierce. Do you even think there's a need for a replacement in Chicago?
Yeah, 100%. If Montgomery goes down, we have no actual running back, in my opinion. Null has played not that many snaps so far in the NFL. Cordero Patterson's more of a wide receiver than a running back, even though he can play running back. He's not ready to be running back 1. And then Artavis Pierce is an undrafted free agent. So I think the Bears need to bring a vet into the room. If something happens with Montgomery, we need help there. So hopefully we can bring in a running back.
Yeah, the Bears tried out a couple of running backs a couple of days ago, and we'll get into that in a bit. Jaylen, you've been someone in the past who's raved about Artavis Pierce. He was someone who reporters said had a pretty good camp, obviously also had 6 touchdowns during his senior year at Oregon State. But Parth brings up a good point, and I'm going to have to agree with him. I think if the Bears if Montgomery does go down, we did see him back on the injury report this week with the groin injury. Obviously, he practiced in full, but still might be nagging him just a little bit. So, Jaylen, I want to ask you, do we have consensus here? Do you think the Bears should bring in a replacement running back?
No, I'm totally fine with the group we have right now. And, David, Cordero, Ryan Null, and Artavis Pierce. If we really felt like we needed a running back, we would have instantly signed one after we put Tarik on IR. Sucks to see Tarik down, but I'm pretty sure Nagy is comfortable with the guys he has right now. So I really feel no need in signing another one.
I can understand that, but taking a look at what the Bears did on Tuesday, we saw them try out a pretty big group of running backs, 5 guys. The most prolific ones included former All-Pro Lamar Miller, as well as former Indianapolis Colt for 3 seasons, Jonathan Williams. We saw Miller rush for 973 yards and 5 touchdowns in 2018 with the Houston Texans. He was last on the Patriots, obviously tore his ACL in 2019. It got a little messy for him, but Parth, there are a couple interesting options out there. Some that I didn't even mention include Spencer Ware, CJ Prosise. So do any of these guys intrigue you, and who do you hope that the Bears bring in?
I'm a big fan of Theo Riddick. Actually, he's a great pass catching option in my opinion. In Detroit, he put up some big numbers, especially with Matthew Stafford as a pass catcher, and he's a decent rushing back as well. I think the Bears need to focus on bringing in a pass catcher. Throughout his career, he has 2,238 yards in receiving with a 7.9 yards per reception and 14 total receiving touchdowns. I think those are some pretty big numbers to look at. And Cohen was predominantly a pass catching running back. So to replace him, I feel like Theo Riddick would be the best option.
We'll get into Spencer Ware a bit later. I saved a little bit of a segment for him. He's probably the one that intrigues me the most. Jonathan Williams, also an interesting prospect. We saw him have 49 rushes for 235 yards and a touchdown last year. Only 5 catches, but he averaged 4.8 yards per carry. So he's interesting. And then obviously, we've seen what Lamar Miller's been able to do with a solid enough offensive line in Houston. He made the Pro Bowl. We also saw Carlos Hyde succeed down there. So Lamar Miller's definitely a good option if that ACL is fully healed and we can bring him in just because he's a veteran. He can probably teach him stuff to the younger guys like David Montgomery and Artavis Pierce, someone who I know Jaylen wants to succeed in the future. So Jaylen, I want to pass it to you. You didn't say that you thought there was a need to bring in a running back, but if the Bears are looking at some of these guys, who stands out to you?
Like I said before, not really anyone. I guess Lamar Miller, but we don't know if he did tear his ACL. And in this era, ACLs are extremely easy to come back from, but he's getting up there in age, and I wouldn't want him to take carries from the young guys, like especially David. With Tarik going down, I definitely see us getting David more carries before than he already was. He's his number one running back. He did have a groin injury in training camp, but going back to his rookie season, he's played every single game he's been available for. So, and until God forbid, until like somebody like him go down, I don't see a need in bringing in another one. Like I said before.
And that does make sense to me. I think there's no excuse for David Montgomery not to have 20 carries a game moving forward. We've seen him average 4.4 yards per carry this year, and I think that number only continues to increase as we move forward. But we saw Spencer Ware have some success with the Kansas City Chiefs offense during 3 seasons when Matt Nagy was in town with Kansas City. He caught 33 passes for 447 yards and 2 touchdowns in 2016. Parth, this is an interesting option just because of the connection with Nagy. I know you discussed Theo Riddick earlier as someone who you thought was interesting. Obviously, he's on the Oakland Raiders practice squad right now, or Las Vegas, excuse me. Still getting used to that. But do you think Spencer Ware is an intriguing option? Because obviously we see him as a running back who's not only had success as a ball carrier, but also as a pass catcher, and he has familiarity with Nagy. So what are your thoughts on him?
That's someone who we talked about before the season even started. I'd love to see Spencer Ware in a Bears uniform too. In 2016, he had that big year. It'd be fun to see anyone, actually. I think, I know Jaylen disagrees with us, but I think the Bears desperately need to bring in a running back. I do not trust David Montgomery to take care of himself. We've seen him get hurt already this year twice. He's been battling it through it, but if anything happens to his groin or hamstring, we'd be without an actual running back on this roster, I feel like. So a guy like Spencer Ware would be cool too. I mean, he can run the ball a lot better than Theo Riddick too, so that's a plus. And he knows Matt Nagy's offense already, or at least parts of it. There's familiarity with Andy Reid there, so if we can bring in Spencer Ware, I would be not against that either.
I mentioned earlier CJ Prosise. I didn't even know he got signed by the Houston Texans, so there's an interesting point. But yeah, Spencer Ware had quite the 2016 season. Obviously, he was the premier back with the Chiefs back when Alex Smith was there. Rushed 14 times for 214 yards and 3 touchdowns. But he, at least personally, amplifies the need for a receiving back for the Bears. No matter what, you're not going to be able to put him out there like Tarik Cohen and just have him run a route like a wide receiver. But he's someone who knows Matt Nagy's offense and can have success as a receiving back. We saw him targeted 42 times, caught 33 passes for 447 yards, I mentioned earlier. That's 13.5 yards per catch. Jaylen, what do you think? If the Bears were looking to bring someone in, it seems like Ware makes sense just because of the familiarity as well as his success as a receiving back. So do you think he's an intriguing option that the Bears are keeping an eye on?
I kind of said this through the whole video. Like, well, I'm not Nagy, so I don't know what they're thinking about. So if they are like very, actually interested in signing a running back to replace Tarik, I wouldn't be surprised if he did bring in somebody like a Spencer Ware who knows his offense, especially 4 weeks into the season. So if Nagy is actually interested in bringing one in, Spencer Ware is definitely an option for him.
Jaylen, all we wanted you to have in this episode was an open mind, and you kept saying no, 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 but it's all right. Thank you guys.
I got really I try to stay open minded. It's very hard.
Try? Okay.
I'm very Parth. We'll talk about this after, but you can't say nothing about that. But okay, whatever.
Jaylen about to get that bread after this episode.
Zero chance.
All right, well, that'll pretty much do it for episode number 89 of Uncut. Do us a favor, leave in the comments, if the Bears do pick someone up, who do you want? We didn't really talk about Jonathan Williams a ton. He's another interesting prospect. I'm sure a lot of you guys want Lamar Miller, and it should be interesting to see how it plays out moving forward. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you want more content from us, do us a favor. Head over to our website, beareddown.com. We're posting columns, articles, and blogs over there basically every day now, getting you guys as much extra content as possible. If you would like to find the podcast on Instagram and Twitter, you can find us at Beared Down on both of those platforms. Be sure to go check that out. I say it a lot. We do a decent amount of giveaways on our social media pages, so it's definitely worth a follow. And finally, if you would like to find me, Parth, and Jaylen on social media, the links to our Bears fan pages on Instagram are down in the description. Those are also worth checking out as well. Parth Shaw, Jaylen McClinton, about to get started with our weekend coverage. We'll record Fan Mail Friday later tonight. Any last words?
I'm excited for this game against the Colts. I think it's their toughest matchup yet. I think they're getting tougher as we go, that's for sure. I'm excited to see Nick Foles at quarterback. It's going to be weird after seeing a bunch of Mitch Trubisky for the past 3 years to have a different quarterback in there who can throw the deep ball consistently.
Kind of opposite of your part about the Nick Foles part, but another week, another game, another opportunity to go undefeated, and that's all that matters. So bear down.
100%. I will say on Parth's tidbit about Mitch, it was kind of sad yesterday to see that 2 years ago it was that Tampa Bay game where he threw 6 touchdowns. It was a little bit sad to see that, but you know what? The Bears are moving into week 4 with the running back room that they have, and I hope that they will be able to be successful. It's been a pleasure to be your host. Once again, my name is Chris Malpe. If you made it this far in the video already and haven't done so, do us a favor, drop a like on this video. It helps us out a lot. Bears fans, as always, stay safe and bear down. Look out for Fan Mail Friday coming out tomorrow. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.